Life after marriage and kids, or before?
Life after marriage and kids in your 30s. And the first thing I want to bring up is my voice. Because before kids, I was never, ever sick. My immune system was like a tank. I would get sick maybe once every 3 years. Now I
If that.
feel like I'm sick once every other month.
Yeah,
So,
that is true.
excuse my voice.
And somehow motherhood has made me strong because I've skipped out on the last two times the kids have been sick.
Yeah, and you used to get sick all the
Often.
time before.
Well, I think it seemed that it was often because you'd never get sick. So every time somebody was sick, it was me, but I don't
Yeah,
think it was often.
yeah. I felt like it was often, and now I'm sick all the time. So I have this weird little thing in my throat. But yeah, so today what I wanted to talk about was how life changes after you're married and you have kids. Because before that, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, right? And then you get married, everything's going well. Then you have kids, and it's like world gets turned completely upside down.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that sticks out to me the most is like friendships, right? Like how your circle changes,
A lot.
or like what you do with your friends changes. What do you think's been the biggest like shift?
I think it's just when you have children, the friends you had, obviously before children, who don't have children, they don't understand the importance of like showing up for your kids or like how much that means to you. So you start to drift in different ways. Hope, thankfully there are some friends that do understand, but then there's others that just they don't get it, and you almost can't even blame them for it because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
They don't have kids. They don't know how important it is to show up to a birthday party or check on you. And if you say, "Oh, my kid's been sick," you want that text of, the next day or the day after, like, "Hey, are they feeling better?" Because you want them to care. I guess that's as much as you do,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's more of a you thing, like a woman
I
thing,
think it's a woman thing.
because what's different for me is when we were getting married and we rented out an entire hotel when we got married,
Yeah.
and all our friends came down from all over. One of my groomsmen, I was like, "Oh, you're gonna rent a hotel?" He was like, "No, I'm just gonna go to the wedding and then I'm gonna go home because my kids." I was like, "Just leave your kids with like your mother-in-law or
Yeah.
with your mom, like." And he was like, "No, no, no, I gotta be with my baby." I'm like, "It's one night." And
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Yeah,
Like
you didn't get
I
it.
was like, why? Like who cares? Like it's just a night. And now having a kid, I'm like, oh, okay. You don't really want to be away from them.
Yeah, you don't.
And when you're away from them, you're kind of thinking like, are they safe? What are they doing? It's
Did they
weird.
eat? Did they use the restroom properly? Do they miss me? Like you start to like question everything. And like the hours go by even slower when they're not around because you're just kind of thinking
Yeah.
about them.
Like right now, where are they right now?
They're at my mom's house, and I've had anxiety this whole time getting here
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, it's Saturday and I want to be with them.
Yeah.
Even though you want to be yourself too and have fun with your friends, but I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's different.
And you know what it is? I think there's certain groups of people or certain parents that they're comfortable with leaving their kids just anywhere or with anybody.
I think that comes with different ages though, because I think if you're a young parent, you don't see the danger in a lot of things. And then if you're a much older parent, which we waited to have kids, we had them, in our mid 30s. If you're an older parent, I
Early
think
30s.
no, mid. I had Ava at 35. Actually 34.
But you got pregnant at 33.
Yeah.
So that's early 30s.
I mean, that's almost mid, but I
Yeah.
guess. Anyways, we waited longer than the average couple does, right? A lot of times you see parents who are much younger, they're in their 20s. And I'm not saying that in your 30s you're smarter than in your 20s. You still make mistakes,
You're
but
definitely smarter in your 30s than your 20s.
you think so?
100%.
I just think that I don't know, you see the more like of the dangers and things of like the people that are around them, the things that can happen to them. You think about things like, oh my God, there's stairs in my parents' house. I mean, thank God there's a gate, right? But God forbid they miss their step. Little things like that that I don't think in your 20s you really like grasp or think about. So it's just it's different.
And what about like just when your friends text you, let's go to some vacation destination in like a month. And back in the day when we were married, well, when we were married it was a little bit different because it was COVID. But
Yeah.
before marriage, if a friend's planned a trip, it's like, okay, cool, let's just buy our tickets and we don't
And
got to
let's
think about
pick up and
anything.
go.
Yeah, you pick up and go. Now with kids, almost everything is with kids. Every vacation is with kids. What do you
We have
think?
to plan things to do them by ourselves. In fact, I want to say like like a month ago maybe, I made it a point to plan something where it was just him and I, because for the last 4 years we have two babies. We have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. For the last 4 years, we hadn't done anything, just us. It had been just us and the kids.
Yeah,
So
and that gets you kind of start losing yourself, who you are.
yeah, yeah, you start going through an identity crisis. Like, am I
Yeah,
just a mom? Is that it?
yeah,
You forget that, you're also like this fun girl who had a great time. Back to what you were saying about picking up and going. Sometimes I fantasize that my friends are going to be like, hey, let's go to whatever island next month. And it sounds like such a great idea. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd be sipping a margarita by the pool and it's going to be hot and it's going to be great. And then if it does happen, actually it did happen, I'm like, oh my God, but I have to catch a plane.
yeah.
And I don't want to do that because God forbid something happens to the plane and I have kids back home. And oh my God, it's going to be 2 or 3 days and then I can't see the kids. And I don't know. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah, it changes. And I think one thing that I didn't realize before we had kids was that when you're young or when you're in your 20s and your early 20s, mid 20s, you have like this idea of all these things you want to do and you may or may not do them, right? And then once you get married and have kids, it's not that you can't do those things anymore, but it's just you don't even want to do some of those things anymore. So
yeah.
like your priorities completely shift. And that sucks because if you always wanted to, I don't know, climb a mountain or do something, you may not even want to do that anymore because you start thinking, man, what if I finish myself
Yeah.
on a mountain and I have kids? And that's kind of like a disservice to yourself because you may not even want to do that anymore.
It's funny. We're like explaining this as if life wasn't enjoyable for us or isn't enjoyable for us right now, which it totally is. I'm obsessed with my children. I love planning things for them, dressing them, trips. But I'm so glad we did wait to the 30s, right?
Yeah, no,
We
for
we didn't
sure.
know each other in our early 20s. We met in our late 20s, but I had a complete blast, and everything I hear from his stories and his boys' stories seems like he had a complete blast too. Like
I was an angel.
yeah, right. We traveled separately before we met, and then together we traveled a lot too. We had a blast. I have stories for days. I had a great time, and I'm so happy that I waited. I think that the only thing that sometimes makes me feel like, damn, I should have had them earlier is my patience, and that I don't have enough of it.
I don't I don't think you would have had more patience in your 20s. And I mean, you're right because when you're a teenager, right? You're 15, 16, you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to get married at 22 years old,
Hilarious.
buy my house at 25,
Good
have the
luck.
best job in the world." And then cuz we always say, "Oh, I don't want to be an old parent." And you think that like 40 is old.
Yeah.
Like remember like you saw a 40-year-old and you're like, "Man, that person's
It's
old." And now you're
old.
like,
I'm
I'm
brand new.
yeah, I'm
Like the new
chilling.
20s.
Yeah, I'm almost 40, but I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that perception, gets turned on its head also because yeah, I'm glad. Like I think we did at the perfect time. I was 33 also when you got pregnant.
Yeah.
And also when you're older, you're a little bit more stable in life. You're more stable in your career, you're more stable in your finances. And that's important because now what are we looking at, right? Well, one, we family vacations, which go up a lot, right? The cost of family vacations. You do them more often because this one gets guilt when we don't do anything for a
I
long
want
time.
something planned every month. And it doesn't have to be a fancy
And
vacation, but the kids need to like explore, go to different places.
I
And
agree.
that whole shebang of people saying that things like, oh, they're so little, they're not going to remember. I don't care. I remember.
Yeah. No, I get it. I used to be like that too. Um, but also, well, I forgot what I was gonna say
Um, I'm not sure what you were gonna say either.
because I was down a rabbit hole.
Anyways, yeah, well, I'm gonna remember, right? I'm gonna remember,
Oh,
and I get joy out of seeing them like smile and have a good time. To me, like I think we forget that like their childhood is my motherhood. It's his fatherhood. They are going to remember the experiences even if they don't actually physically remember everything that they did. Like they got joy out of that. And that to
yeah,
me is important. Like I don't care if they're gonna remember every detail.
yeah. So no, look, what I was saying was, is I think it's better to have them when you're a little bit older because you're more stable in your finances, the vacations, and now we're looking at school, right, for your kids. And when you start having the conversation, like, should we do private school? Should we do charter school? Should we do public school? Should we homeschool? And all that, like, I can't imagine having those conversations at like 24 or 23.
Yeah, I don't even think we'd have the means
But that's my point.
financially
Yeah,
to
maybe
have
other
that
people do.
conversation. We'd
Yeah.
probably be like, yeah, public school is the route because that's the only thing we can afford.
Yeah.
I think that like when you're older, there's options because you're more stable, so you can have the conversation. Do I want to put them in private school? Let's say you want to do public school. Maybe you live in a very good neighborhood where you feel comfortable doing that. Some people in their 20s can do that for the most part. At least the people we grew up with in their 20s, they're not doing that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What do you think is different with like us now after kids? Because like I was talking about earlier, like we got married in December of 2019 and then COVID happened
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of 2022. I mean 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like lockdown for six
Yeah.
months and then we got pregnant.
Yeah. So we got married December 2019. March 2020, we got the whole shutdown situation. COVID had been going on for like 2 months, and then everything shut down in Miami, where we live, in the United States, actually. Right? It was
Yeah.
across the entire country, and we got pregnant in June.
Yeah. June.
So yeah, so the first, I mean, I guess that's why we got pregnant. We had nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of COVID babies. Like, there's
There's a ton.
Ava's the oldest. Ava has a lot of friends her
Yeah, a
age.
lot of COVID babies, a
A
ton.
lot of COVID babies.
But yeah, so we didn't. I don't think we had the experience of being like newlyweds and just doing whatever we wanted by ourselves or like loving on each other alone. I think we had that in the little apartment that we had,
Yeah,
and that was it. Like
yeah.
we couldn't really go anywhere. We couldn't even go to dinner.
Well, prior to that, when we were just engaged and just dating, right? Let's talk about 2019, 2018. Before we were married, before we were kids, right? I mean, we were going out all the time.
Yeah, no, we went out every single weekend, whether it was a restaurant, a club, whether we traveled to Greece, whether we went to Mexico. We definitely did a lot, a lot.
And then once we had our first one, it's like, I mean, we did travel a little bit when she was 6 months old, but after that, it's just like,
Yeah, it became all about them.
yeah, yeah,
It really
it
did.
literally
And
becomes
to
all
answer
about
your
them.
question, because you had just asked earlier, like what's different with us is that it's not all about you, it's not all about me. It's really a lot about them, and then whatever's left is about us. Like even to do something like this, we have to,
Yeah, this,
plan accordingly.
yeah, this been in the making for like
Months.
15 months, 2 years maybe. But I mean, we were here the other day trying to set up the stuff, and they were just climbing on tripods and knocking things over. So
Yeah,
I think it's important to do things anyway that are a little bit inconvenient when you have kids because there's never going to be a right time
there
with
isn't.
kids. They're always
I
going to need
think there's never
attention.
a right time in life, period, like ever. I think when you want to do something, you have to carve out the time, the energy, you have to plan. I mean, at least something that's worthwhile, right?
Yeah, because if you don't, like even today in the morning, I kind of got your vibe a little bit that you didn't want to do this. And I was like,
I don't think it's that I didn't want to do this. I 100% wanted to do this, but I almost was like, man, it's Saturday. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm a sucker for good weather. It's sunny. Like, I just want to get the kids dressed. Let's go to breakfast and like, let's go enjoy the weekend. I think that was my mindset. And it's not that I didn't want to do it. I was like, can we just do it? I don't know, on a Friday while we're working.
yeah, no, it's impossible. At least for me, it's impossible to do anything during the week just because of work. And I mean, you have a little bit more flexibility with what you do working from home.
Yeah.
But with me, I have almost no chance to do that during the week. So, yeah, I think it's important to carve out time for specific things, carve out times for us to like go to dinner, go to lunch. Because, man, them little kids,
You know,
they, they,
you say
they
that, but
have
you know what?
no,
And I speak for him too. Um, I am so thankful to have those two little kids running around with legs, right?
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Healthy, driving us nuts
I hear what you're
because that
saying.
means we have two perfect, healthy kids.
I hear what
And
you're
that is
saying.
everything. That's God's blessing. So I don't knock it. Like I'm totally fine with it.
So this is you saying that right now when they're chilling, they're not on your nerves, but catch you at 6 o'clock on a
I
weekday.
just think we have specific kids, guys. I think that not everyone has the same experience with anything in life, but our kids, and this is completely our fault, they're very clingy. So they're constantly,
Stage four clingers.
listen, we could be on the couch just chilling. Mind you, they have an entire playroom apart from their bedroom where they have the whole room is taken up by toys. They could have a great old time. They refuse. They want to be right next to me, right next to him. They want to lay on us. They want
Yeah,
to ask us for
on
things
top.
constantly. They don't want to sit next to us or be in our presence. No, they want to be on top of us. And we're talking about a 4 and 2 year old. They can walk around, they could do whatever they want. They can, fly off the couch if they like to. No, they want to be on top of us. So it's a little bit different. I think our kids are different than other kids.
I mean, I think we'll find out a lot of kids are like that. It's just we were
I don't
punks with these
know.
kids and we didn't let them know like you can't do that. And now they're just like they watch TV on top of us. Like
Yeah.
literally on top of us. And they were in our bed up until
Last month.
3 weeks ago.
Last month, yeah.
It was four. Aria's two.
Well, thanks to who though?
You? You?
Because if it's up to him, they'd still be in our bed. Because
Okay.
it's hard,
It's
number
not, yeah,
one.
it's not that I want them in our, and look, I don't mind them because there's going to be a point in time when they're not going to want to even talk to us, right? It's more of, it's hard to get sleep anyway. And sleep training is no walk in the park.
It's not. I was
So
told it
I
would
was
take
just
3 days.
like,
I think we're going on three
yeah,
weeks and we're still waking up.
that's the thing because every kid is different. And you try to give me like a chart of like, how do you do it? And I'm like, yeah, but our kid throws up when they cry for too long.
Yeah,
So,
our oldest.
and it didn't work. I mean, I know you like to say that sheet, what was it called? The sleep
It was some
training.
type of method. I don't
It
recall
was a
it right
method, and
now,
I'm
but
like, this is not we can't even give it credit because that's not what we did.
yeah, what we did was wing it, right? So it's funny because
Yeah,
we have friends um, who tell us all the time, like, oh, we're going on our second baby. You have to give us advice. Or we're going on our first baby. Well, what's the advice? And like, we have no advice. We don't know what we're doing. We're keeping them alive. I'm dressing them cute and we're going on vacations. I can't tell you anything else.
yeah, yeah. A part of this, I want to see what other people are doing with their kids because it didn't come with instruction manuals.
Yeah, it didn't. They just, you just give birth and they just hand
And
them
I
to you.
feel like what we do is we just try to do everything for them that we wanted for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way to go
Wait.
about it because as you can see, our little 4-year-old princess sometimes throw some tantrums
Yeah.
that it's like, yo, you go to Disney, you have all kinds of toys, like you do a lot of fun stuff, and then we go to water parks and all that stuff. So like, be a little bit more grateful.
I think she's 4. I don't think she understands it. And we're teaching her that. But you're right. I at least, and I'm sure you feel the same, I try to give them everything that I think I wanted at their age. Um, like even with extracurricular activities. Like I wish my mom would have put me in dance at 4.
But you see, so if we're talking about life after marriage and kids, look at our weeks now, right? So before we would go to work because we worked at the same job
Yeah,
before we got married.
that's where we
We
met.
would we would go to work, and then after work, go to the gym, do whatever you
Always.
want. Yeah.
We went to the gym, we picked up dinner, we hung out, we had shows we watched.
We watched shows. Remember that? We
Yeah,
watched shows.
yeah.
And now last week is because it's summertime, we're in June, and Ava does ballet 2 or 3 times a week, right? Swimming is
Yeah,
Aria does swimming, Ava does stretching, and we
yeah,
just put her in jujitsu.
yeah.
So like the whole day after work is just
Drop off and pick. Well, not even drop off because I stay there. So it's take her, let her finish her class, take her home, cook, eat. By the time you know it's already 9 o'clock. People tell me sometimes, like, how do you go to sleep at 9 o'clock? How do you get things done? I have to go to sleep at 9 o'clock because I'm so tired.
yeah, but
Like, there's just no way.
but even with that, like that's a mission trying to go to sleep at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, it's a process. We have a whole routine that we do. We bathe them. After we bathe them, we prep their milks. They drink so much milk, it's ridiculous. We prep their milks. They go to bed. We have to read them a story, sometimes 2 stories. Then we do prayer. And then we have to sit there until they fall asleep because we're still going through the process of sleep training. Ideally, I'd like to just say goodnight and then walk out of the room,
Yeah, I have
right?
friends that do that. They just put their kid in the crib or in the bed,
Say bye bye.
turn the camera on, walk out,
Yeah.
and those kids
You
are
know
there
what?
through the
Maybe it's
night.
not our kids. Maybe it's us.
I think it's us. I think it's us because,
Man
like I
up.
said, we were so punk. You were, and then I just
Followed.
in that situation, yeah. So with Ava, I mean, I think everybody does this with their first kid, just because when I talk to people, they're super
Oh
overprotective.
my
They're
God. It was
they're checking
awful.
their temperature. You when one is
It was
sick, the amount of thermometers by the
awful.
bedside is
Guys,
crazy.
awful. Like 3 thermometers. I would switch them out just to make sure. You know, I hate to even bring this up because it's a little personal, but it's my anxiety, like, or was because I've gotten a lot better, but it was my anxiety. Like, I had to make sure she was okay. I think after you become a parent of one and you go on to your second one, you realize that it takes a lot for them to die. They're not going to die.
For real.
So, I think with your first, you're like, oh my God, if I mess this up, like, if I don't put her down properly, if I would even get worried that if I laid her on one side, she would cut circulation on her arm. Like little things.
Remember, what was that thing called? Like a donut, like the youth thing that you're supposed to put on the bed, and then you put the baby on that thing.
Oh yeah, that was the
Donut. It's like a donut. It's like a boat.
yeah, but that's not that's a DACA tot.
Whatever. And you're like, oh, there's kids that suffocate from it, and it's banned in Canada. I'm like,
Yeah, just know I didn't leave her in there by herself.
yeah. I was
Ever.
like, so many things that we got when she was born that we didn't use out of fear.
Yeah.
It's insane. And again, it's one of those things that before having the kids, I would look at parents like them. Like, what's wrong with you people? Like, what's wrong with you
Yeah,
people?
what is wrong with us? Like, why did we do that? I think it's just when you love someone so much more than yourself, you do whatever.
I think you could love someone or a kid that much and still not be like that. I think that exists. I mean, I know it exists. I
I mean,
know.
I'm sure it exists in someone with zero anxiety who, you know, who feels very sure of themselves. I don't know. I think moms are completely different than dads. I think that we just go through a different phase.
You know what else I find is interesting? Before we had the kids, if I looked over at your phone, you were searching through like I don't know, clothes, bags, whatever. I don't know. You look at vacation spots. Every time I look over at your phone now, you're on a Facebook group of moms, legit mom groups.
I am.
You've become that person,
I have.
which is insane.
I know.
And these groups, these are the most insane groups I've ever seen in my life. It's hold on,
What if you
it's hold
don't?
on. It's 40,000 women per group, moms, not even just women, moms, and they, I mean, I don't know exactly what they do, but they share pictures of clothing.
No.
or they send each other clothing. Is it? I don't know. But every time I look at your phone, you're on a mom Facebook page.
Yeah.
You're getting notifications all the time. I'm like, what could you possibly be talking about so much?
Well, because in addition to Ava and Arya's, extracurricular activities, they're reps for different clothing brands. So I'm part of groups that are also reps for those clothing brands for toddlers. So yeah, we talk about the dresses. There's a ton of dress drops that happen, not just dresses, there's other items too that drop every week. And as a rep, you get different benefits for repping for the company. So sometimes you have to share those things or put them in different groups so that you can help market the products. And that's how we get the benefits of being a rep. They give us a ton of, percentages off of each item that we buy.
But
And yeah, so we
why?
post often.
But why so many groups?
Well, it's not that it's so many, it's just that there's other groups that they're called like buy sell trade. So say I bought some dresses, we use them, and ladies, as you know, sometimes just like us moms wear something and we're like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to wear that again because I already posted a picture with it, whatever that the case might be. Same thing goes with kids, especially because they grow so often, right? So there's groups where you either buy from them, sell from them, or trade outfits. For the most part, I do a lot of like buying or selling there because once the kids outgrow a dress, I just post it on there and I pretty much get my money back. So I bought a dress, let's say it cost me $80, and now the girls are done using them. They wore them one time, they're literally almost new. So I'd post them, and then another mom gets to take advantage of it for less of a price, which is amazing. And yeah, I get my
Okay.
money back, and then I rebuy.
You lost men at that part.
Well, I gained women at this part.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that alone, but one thing I used to enjoy back in the day before kids was the shows that we watched. We were
Yeah,
big into Power. Remember season one,
I
two,
know, but
three?
let me tell you something. If Power comes back, I'm watching again.
Yeah, because
I just, with me, I have to get a good show. If it's a good show, I'm in. I'm locked in. But it takes a lot.
yeah, but even so, like I mean, before the kids were in our bed, so it's almost impossible to have TV on at night when you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
watch something. Now we can try, and we did. We watched um,
Neighbors and Friends,
Your Neighbors and
that
Friends.
was
Yeah,
so
that was a
good.
good show. Um, but like, I can't see that being a normal thing because even though the kids are in their own room now, they still wake up every a couple
For
hours.
no, they've been getting better. So like now I feel like it's every 4 or 5 hours.
Well, now because they're doing a lot of activities in the summertime, so they're
Yeah,
tired. So Ava would knock out, maybe wake up once or twice for milk. Same thing with Aria.
yeah,
But maybe we could start doing that again.
yeah. I enjoy that.
Here's another one, right? Restaurants with
Oof.
kids afterwards, it's insane. Because before you would go to a restaurant, you'll get a little drink, get your appetizers, your main course,
You enjoy your
enjoy each other's
food.
company, you're talking, laughing. Now we're at a restaurant, and in the beginning we try to go to nice restaurants still and try to keep that going with the big stroller in those tight configurations of the way the restaurant's laid out. It didn't work. So even when we go to just like a fast food, well, not really fast food, but just like a regular restaurant, those kids are going
Yeah,
nuts. And
nuts.
now we eliminated the iPads, but they're just, it's loud. And you try not to be those parents that the kids are going nuts while you're
Yeah.
at, it's hard.
Well, I'm trying different things, and I think that the last time I grabbed
The blocks.
yeah, I grabbed
Yeah.
some blocks. So I
But
organized
that
the
looks
playroom,
crazy. We pull up to a taco spot and we have
but that doesn't look
a
crazy.
container of blocks.
So,
Aria, the 2-year-old, pulls up with a little mini cash register at the table with money and coins in
well,
it.
I'm just
And
trying to
it's like,
limit
why
screen
can't they
time as
just
much
sit
as
there and eat?
possible. I'm
Why
trying
can't they just eat?
to, because they're kids, and I'm trying to limit screen time as much as possible because I have noticed that they they go wild after they've had some screen time,
No,
and
they
then
had
they
a lot of
don't.
screen
Yeah,
time.
and then they don't have it. Is they go nuts, and that's not normal. It's not okay. So
Yeah.
we gotta suck it up.
Yeah.
We'll take blocks, the cash register, the Princess cash register, whatever item I find at Target that they like.
When we're at a restaurant and another family's there and their kid is going crazy, I get a little satisfaction out of it. I'm like, I get it. It's not. I'm glad it's not me, but I get it. I'm a little bit
Or we give
more.
each other the nod, like, we've been there. It's okay.
Yeah, and that in the beginning when when they were younger, people would give us that look and like, "Don't worry about it, you're fine." And I used to get so mad. I'm like, "Just be quiet." Like people are here to have a good time, and oh my god, and you do become more understanding as you get older, and you become a little bit more patient for other people and their kids when you have your own kids. Which again, before anything, I had zero patience.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, shut that kid up. Like, what are you doing? Kid is clearly a menace. Screaming, throwing, just stop him. Not that our kids do that, but they do get loud every once in a while.
Yeah,
And
like if they're not entertained. Because
yeah,
also you
stimulation.
are talking about our children like they're these wildcats. And they're not that bad. They're just kids. And I think here's the thing. I grew up in my family and there's a ton of kids. So I was used to changing diapers, dealing with tantrums. I don't think you had that experience.
No, I've never changed a diaper before my kids.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't have that experience. So to you, everything was new, and you're like, oh my God, why are they acting like, well,
I
they're
think
acting like
most, I
kids.
think for most people that's new. I think you had a unique situation.
I might have, yeah. I might have
But
had a
I
unique
think
situation,
it
but
took,
my kids actually behave pretty good. You don't want to know what behaving bad looks like.
I mean, I seen it. No, 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 they don't behave bad, but they are loud and
They're
so,
kids.
yeah, they mess up the table when
They're
touching everything.
kids.
It's like they want to touch everything automatically.
And
So
jumping back into the fact that they're kids, and the reason why friends change, or it's just different with your friends, is because now you've become the couple that has the kids. So when they're going to
correct.
go out, they don't want to deal with that.
No, 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 no. Don't act like you were aware of that.
I wasn't. I
You
was like, what's
no, no. For
wrong?
for the longest, you were trying to plan trips with like other couples who don't have kids, and when you would bring it up to him, like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good," and afterwards, I have to pull you aside. I'm like, they don't want to go with us. Like we're with two kids who are gonna be changing diapers. They want to turn up. They want to go out, have a good time, and you didn't understand that for a long time.
It's not that I didn't understand
And they're
it.
gonna be nice about it. They're not gonna be like, "Well, you guys know." They're just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, for sure," but
Yeah. It's not that I didn't understand it. I just think that, I don't know. I think so. Growing up in my 20s, I had a friend who had a kid. And I never treated her different for it. Like, I
yeah, but
never
you
was like, well,
guys,
I'm going to go out, but you can't bring your kid. Like, I never cared.
did you travel with that friend and their kid?
Well, no,
That's my
because,
point. You were trying to
yeah,
plan
but
trips,
no, because she just didn't want to take her kid on the trip.
but
But
that's my
if she
point.
wanted to, I don't think I would have felt some type of way.
Okay, but we're talking about something different. We're talking about another couple or couples who we traveled with in the past, and we go to parties and all that stuff, and then we know we're bringing our kids along. That changes the dynamic of the
Yeah,
entire
yeah, because
vacation.
they want to be around our company, which means that, you know, we're focused on their conversations equally back and forth. We're having a great time
Oh my
together.
God, I
It's
can't
different.
imagine. Yeah, you having a conversation with another couple who doesn't have a kid, and you're just constantly, hey, put that down. Yeah, so that, hey, stop it.
Tourette's.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane, and I can see that. And I'm very conscious of that when I'm talking to people who don't have kids, and I don't want to make it awkward for anybody.
Yeah.
But I think it took you a while to realize that
No, I just think that you're very good at like that stuff. Like you're good at being aware about things like that.
because before the kids, if I was gonna hang out with a friend, they were gonna bring their kid. I'm like, why? Not in a bad way. I like their kid, but I'm like, why would you do that? And
I mean, I guess now we're living karma of the way you used to react because I
yeah,
didn't do
but I
that.
don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's natural, right? To like not understand, and then you have your kids and you understand, like, oh, okay, you're gonna bring them, and sometimes you have no choice but to bring them around. So yeah, I think the beauty of it is though when and a lot of people in our friends circles have kids around similar ages, so that's cool because now we can start doing things with them, and it literally all becomes about them, right? Because if
Yeah.
you're planning a trip with another couple who has kids, you're planning a trip where the kids are the center of the
Yeah.
focus,
Yeah,
right?
you're planning like a kid-friendly vacation. Like the number one thing moms ask each other is like, "Oh, well, what's there to do for kids here?"
Yeah.
Because they've got to do things too, right? So, I think that's why it's important to carve out and separate some time for you to be with your partner by yourselves, which is why this past Memorial weekend, that's exactly what I did. I said, you know what? The kids are a little bit older now. I think it's important that you and I are, even though we did a staycation, which was super local, which was great, right? Because God forbid something happens, we're a 30-minute drive away. Um, it makes me feel like safe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing when you when we do the little staycations, we always say if we could not take a flight,
Yeah, we won't.
it's better because we could get. Man, I think maybe we're just
Different,
no, it's just no different. Yeah, different, but like too.
attached.
I think we blame our kids for that, but
I think it's us.
I think it's us.
Yeah.
I think it's us.
And honestly, I don't care.
I do, but then you can't get mad at them when they're clingy and all that because that's a
Yeah.
reflection of you or us.
Yeah, I always told you you were super clingy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
From the get.
Yeah, right.
You needed constant affection,
Well, that's
to
how the
be
kids are. Yeah.
touched constantly.
Who doesn't like affection and touch?
Me, I'm an alien.
You're just very
No, I do like affection and to be touched. It's just, you know, I'm sure a lot of you know about the 5 love languages. My husband over here, he's not, usually you're like 1 or 2 love languages. This guy is 25% of each. So,
like 20%. Yeah.
yeah, 25% or 20% of
It's
each.
five,
It's
right?
five, so 20% of
Yeah.
each. Yeah, he's 20% of each. So I'm over here like, I don't know what to do next.
Do everything. I'm a simple guy.
You're not.
Our kids are, yeah, all five. For sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love it when Ava says things like, "You're my hero," or "Mommy, thank you so much for giving me broccoli." Like, what kid says that?
Yeah, she's
It's the
trip.
cutest thing ever. And Arya, she can't actually like put sentences together yet or words together yet. So she'll be like, "Hungry,
Yeah, she points at her mouth. Food, food. Like a
food,
caveman.
food."
That's the other thing, right? When you're talking to friends or family, every interaction is about the damn
Yeah, the
kids.
kids.
Yeah, it's like, well, they just did the funniest thing. And I mean, it's great. It is great. It's great stuff. But to the other person, I wonder how that comes off.
Yeah. I almost feel like the only people that are interested in what we're talking about is people with kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think
Because the people
so.
without them is like, oh my God, talk about something else.
Or maybe they could see what they're gonna get themselves into because you think you'll be different, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I know a lot of people were all kind of in the same boat.
But let me ask you something. Knowing what you know now, if you had the option to not have them, would you have chosen to stay kidless?
No, of course not. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, yeah, I think we all wanted kids, right? And it is hard, and it is like stressful and time consuming, and it becomes all about them. But your priorities, my priorities changed, and I can't imagine not having the kids. And
I honestly,
the things I was interested in the past, I'm no longer interested in it, and that's okay. Like,
I know that maybe you don't feel this, but I think I'm more in love with you now with the kids than I was before. Not that I was any less in love. Like, I obviously loved you, but it's just, I see you with a different set of eyes. Like, oh my God, he's a dad. He's taking care of what I love most because that's what I love most. I love my kids more than myself. So I don't know. I just think that this is a better you. I think that you're more confident. You're more driven, even with your career. Like there's just I feel like in the past there's excuses about things. Well, that's not what I want to do for the rest of my life, or like I don't know. I'll do it tomorrow. And when you have kids, there's like I you don't care.
yeah,
You don't care
yeah,
what
you
you
don't
want to do
care.
or what you like or what.
Your self sacrifice goes up to 1,000
Yeah.
because you
You're
don't
just like,
care.
yeah, no, I don't care. I actually have to make sure that I make X amount of money by this time because, the kids got to get this paid or we got to go on this specific vacation that my crazy wife plans. So,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah. You dove right into momhood, like completely. Like it's crazy, right? You go from being super into, I mean, you're still into fitness and taking care of yourself and all that stuff, but like,
But I was really into myself.
yeah, yeah. And like, you transform that into the kids now because now you're all about the kids, how they, dress, the activities, making sure they're learning like their numbers and letters and color.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
like you completely just
Yeah,
took all that
I've
energy.
become a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, you legit become a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
That's why I think we should homeschool the kids.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested. I need my sanity.
That's a conversation for another day. But
Yeah.
that yeah, you've
I just think I want them to win at life. And I don't think it's because they're part of a competition. I think it's because I want them to have so much confidence because whatever they're going to be taught in school is familiar to them. Um, that I want them to feel like I've got
yeah.
this.
I think you picked that up a lot faster than me. Like you
I
dove
think
right in.
I think every mom
And
does.
then me, I was still like trying to like do things and still do things for myself and stuff in the beginning. And like now, I mean, it's all about the kids. I
I
still
just I think that sorry to cut you off, but I think that the biggest reason why that is because we carry the baby. So when we were pregnant, I couldn't do things physically because I felt some type of way, whatever it is, already. So I had already been sacrificing a lot of things for those 9 months versus you started the sacrifice when the baby was delivered. The sleepless nights, the helping me feed, all that stuff. But meanwhile, my mindset had already shifted when I was like, oh my God, I can't eat deli meat. By the way, it's okay if you do. I'm a psycho. I can't eat deli meat because the bacteria, blah, 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 blah.
oh yeah, that
So
was
I was already sacrificed. Remember when I gave birth to Ava, I was like, oh, which by the way, thank God for friends like this who went and got me exactly what I wanted to eat. But um,
you wanted a
I
turkey
I wanted a
sandwich.
turkey and cheese sandwich with
That's
mayonnaise.
so weird. Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, because I had read things when I was pregnant that like, oh, the bacteria and the cold in the cold meat or whatever can attack the cells or your kid or I don't know. I was going through it. But anyways, I didn't want any deli meat. So I was sacrificing that and I love sandwiches. So I was sacrificing that. I sacrificed not working out for the first 3 months because I couldn't even get out of the bed of how nauseous I was. There's a lot of sacrifice that went into it for me and that goes into it for other moms. So I think that immediately, just because of time, we're already different. Like we're already prepared.
Yeah.
Versus when I gave birth, then you were like, oh my God, this uncomfortable couch, kill him, kill him. This uncomfortable couch. Meanwhile, I
It
look
was
like a
uncomfortable.
psycho with my legs spread out and
Yes.
everything hurting. This uncomfortable couch on in this
I look, I give
hospital.
it to you. Like birth is crazy. It's scary. It's intense. It's oh man. That room, the delivery room
Yeah.
is a crazy place.
And then the wild part is that somehow we're like, let's do this again.
Yeah, because it fades, right? Like all that part
The pain,
fades.
the
Yeah,
worry,
and
like it
then
fades.
the kids go through a phase like, oh, they're freaking awesome. Like
Yeah.
they're cool. And then you do it again, and then you get the reward from it, right? Like when you walk in the door and they scream up, "Hey, mommy, papa!" Like
Yeah.
that feels amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one thing that like I wish we would have done was we moved into this house after she was born.
She was 6 weeks.
She was 6 weeks, so
Ava,
like we didn't get to enjoy like a clean, well put together house
by ourselves.
just by ourselves. Cause
I try the best that I can. I go wild. It's crazy picking
yeah,
up, but
we,
it's just, it'll last, I don't know, 6 minutes.
we moved into this house in 2021 and renovated it completely. Not completely, like 80%. And
Mm-mm.
they,
Completely.
yeah, completely. But what I'm saying is, yeah, completely. But like Ava messed up everything, the floors, the baseboards, the furniture. And we did it again recently. And now, since they're a little bit older,
Yeah.
but I would have loved to enjoy the house like without the kids
Yeah.
and just have a clean, like I go to some of our friends' house now, like, they don't have kids, and everything is just so nice and clean and organized
until they have children.
until they have children, right? And then, sorry about that, technical difficulties.
I mean, they don't know that.
First time, so all good. But yeah, to finish up, I wish we would have had the crib to ourselves for like at least 6 months. That would have been good.
Yeah, but whatever. That's no big deal. At least not for me.
Yeah. What do you, I guess, to wrap up, what to answer a question that nobody asked us, right?
Nobody ever asked this shit.
Nobody asked us shit. Nobody asked us anything. Um, what advice would you give to somebody in their early 30s, late 20s, who wants to start a family and go through that? What would be one piece of advice that you would have told yourself beforehand?
That's a good question. Because back to what we were saying earlier, I don't think there's any advice that can make you ready. And I don't know that I have any advice.
I would say do those things that you want to do now. Whatever it is, it could be literally anything. Again, not that you're not going to be able to do it
But it's gonna
once
be
you have
different.
kids, but you might not want to do it anymore. And that sucks for you because the priorities change, your mindset changes, everything changes. So if there's something you want to do that it's important to you
Yeah.
and like it,
Make
it
sure
really
it's
means a
done.
lot and it's fulfilling, make sure you do it or at least start it before, if you can, before marriage, before kids. And that way, you won't feel like, because I could go down a rabbit hole of like
Yeah.
things that I wish I would have done that I just don't even care about doing anymore. But it would have been dope to have done it in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got everything out of my system. So I think that my advice to someone who is going to have kids younger than I did would be, if traveling is something that you like, travel everywhere that you can. If save money, man. Like I would literally like not care where I lived, just stack up all the money that I want to stack up so that you can actually enjoy life and not spend it on rent or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
just have a great time, and whatever it is that you want to do that. And I know, we've spent this whole hour or whatever time we've been here talking about all the things that changed, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that the biggest thing that changed is that we have so much more love now than we ever did. And that
That's worth it.
is worth it.
100%. Yeah. I think that's good.
And joy.
We'll wrap up on that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching.